Hello, YouTube. For those of you who do not know me or have never even seen me before, I'm Shisco Production. I go by many other names, but this is the one you're probably watching off of. Most of the time, I do not do reviews for things like, you know, movies or most Western stuff. But because I'm such a huge fan of it, I'm going to be doing a review for Breaking Bad. So if any of you know, this is the only video I really have for it. So it's going to be based off the whole season and then the finale season or the episode. So basically, the reason why is I kind of just got started into it. I was finally able to watch it and learn about it, and I really liked it. I enjoyed the series. It brought something that most shows do not bring, and it was something I really enjoyed, even though if it was about meth. So this, I really like this. Walter White all the way. Excuse me. So to get started, I guess I should start off with the series. Starts off with a chemistry teacher, a high school chemistry teacher, who finds out he has lung cancer. What the origins is unknown. In his past, he helped build another company by figuring out these equations for matter and all these other kind of equations because he's very good with matter and equations like that with chemistry. And he helps build this company and he owns half of it. One of his friends later on just kind of claims it all for himself, for him and his wife. And excuse me. And so he's just a chemistry teacher at high school because he loves chemistry. He is so anything that has to do with chemistry, he's ecstatic about. So he finds it extremely amazing, and you'll learn this off very early in the series. Just in the very first episode, right as it starts off, you'll figure this out. So it starts off with him. He works at a car wash for and a chemistry teacher to make money, ends meet for his family. His son, who is crippled, and his wife, who is pregnant. Uh, he learns of his cancer and keeps it for 2 weeks without telling anyone. And so, to prepare before he dies, he plans to cook meth after seeing his stepbrother or his brother-in-law, who is a DEA, a DEA enforcer or a officer agent, a DEA agent officer, whatever you want to call it. And he sees how they do these meth, and he saw on TV for his birthday, uh, all this money, and so he goes on one of the trips, and he wanted to get a look inside because he thought, meth, chemistry, I can make money for my family, and so he makes money by becoming a cook and almost slowly rising to a kingpin of basically a drug lord, so to speak. And so he teams up with one of his old school students, Jesse Pinkman, and they later on move forward into I almost want to say forward into Dawn, but they move forward into cooking in an RV, and then they get into trouble with these two guys, and then I'm not going to tell you everyone they kill. It gets goes on forever, but they end up having to kill these people using chemistry, using red sulfur acid. I think someone can correct me in the comments below. I'm sure, and I'll probably comment on it so that way you'll also see it. Uh, but he they beat him or whatever you want to call him, and slowly the kill rate goes up. It's not just Walter, who's the main character, Walter White. It's kind of just overall death, but it goes from them, and then they we need to sell more. We need to do double. We need to do double. So instead of getting these they're using these these ingredients you can get out of like a Rite Aid store or whatever, but it's so little, so it takes a while. And so they work with this guy named Tuco. They ended up having to make a new version, which is 99.1% pure meth crystals, which is the purest thing one has, and he's known as Heisenberg to hide his identity, or wearing the sunglasses and the hat, and he has this little mustache. He goes through chemotherapy later on, shaving off his head. Didn't mean to do that. And then he start, he has this little mustache, almost like mine, kind of like that. And then they have to kill Tuco, and his grandfather's there. And so later on, after the grandfather and then try to find, they kind of help in a way with the whole, who is Walter, or who's Heisenberg, who is this man. And so later on they move forward, the series moves forward from Tuco to another guy named as Gus, Fringe, who is like a huge drug lord. I guess he distributes them and makes all the money. He's a very careful guy, and it probably takes 2-3 minutes to get into, so I think it's worth it. He has a guy who's like a bodyguard, hitman, and all of the above, enforcer, and so on, who's named Mike. He's an old guy, much like Walter, but in his 60s, not his 50s. And then Walter eventually grows just a goatee, just he grows a big goatee. He's bald, so that's where some of you have seen, remember my name, the little posters. And so Gus, that happens, trying to replace him because Walter killed one of his associates trying to save Jesse. And in the process, Gus wants revenge, and so he's trying to kill him off. And so he tries to get this German guy named, or Italian guy, I'm not sure who he is, but his name is Augustus. I can't no, I don't remember his name right now. What's his name? Anyways, it's not important. He dies because he's a chemist, but he's trying to replace him. He's a really good guy, and he's a nice guy, and it's a shame. So Gus gets enraged or whatever, and so he's trying to get rid of Walter. So he has Jesse cook for him in Mexico while he kills off the drug lords, or all the dons, or whatever you want to call it, while he warns Walter not to ever get involved in all that. And he says, you can't kill me. You can't kill me because of Jesse. There's nothing you can do. And Gus replies, not yet. So Walter poisons Jesse's new girlfriend's child with something called ricin. And he uses this ricin to, excuse me, or I don't want to say ricin. He poisons him, though. I can't say for sure. I want to say it's ricin because they tried to get the cigarette that had the ricin they were going to use to kill Gus with it. And so he's trying to poison the kid so that he can say, no, look, Gus is doing it to make you attack me, to get rid of me. So he's using it as a way to drive Jesse on his side. And so this might have to go on for part 2. But from there, the series goes on, and Gus gets killed. That's pretty graphic. I really liked his death because it's like half of him was like gone. It's like it's just all bloody. It's a really good animation. Lots of green paint. Anyways, this camera sucks. So from there, Gus dies. Mike tries to work with them to make their own. This is about season 5. Season 5. Yeah, I want to say season 5. I want to say, someone correct me if I'm wrong. Actually, no, it might be season 4, late season 4, that they start doing their own thing or whatever. They're doing their own thing, yada yada yada. They try to do it. Mike can't help it. So what they do, actually, you'll see in this show, they actually kill people by using these sulfur acid or something like that. And you got to use a plastic tub, and they barrel, shove people like Mike or Gus, whatever, whoever they find, in the barrel, acid them up, and then they die and melt everything. And then they're working with this guy who they cook inside these houses that are going to be terminating bugs and all that. And so while they're doing that, these people, tenting it. So they're cooking meth in there so they can have a new place to cook. And later on, things get shaky. One of the people named Todd is actually part of the Aryan Brotherhood, and he has his uncle help Walter after Mike dies because the feds are trying to get him when he's trying to give $2 million to his granddaughter. And so Mike dies, but he goes in the barrel and gets acid up. Jesse is just trying to lay low. He's trying to get out of it, and eventually he actually goes to the DEA or Hank Schaefer, who's Walter White's brother-in-law I mentioned. And so from there, he works with the Brotherhood to kill off Mike's men who were in jail after Gus got killed. They were all arrested, and so they were getting paid money to keep quiet. And so they have a safe deposit hazard pay. And so with Mike's death and Gus already been killed off, uh, Walter has the Aryan Brotherhood have people in jail that are in the Brotherhood kill off all these people, black, Mexican, white, whatever you want to call it, Asian. They're all being killed off just because of the order, not because of race. Which it shows they're not doing because we're a Brotherhood. They were doing it for a job, and they got paid. And so he meets the Brotherhood, and then he meets the leader. And so basically, I guess they do like some deals. But before things can keep going, Jesse Pinkman riding out to um, the DEA and saying, how Todd killed this kid, because Todd's killed a kid because he saw me. He wasn't sure what to do, but he killed one of the kids who went missing and so on. And now, before I can go on, I'm going to advise you, I'm not going to cover everything. I'm trying to give you a quick little thing so I can review it. And so, anyways, the series goes on, and so it gets to the point where there's a gunfight, and it's like the fourth to the third last episode, and they're in the shootout. Gomez, which is one of the main characters, second main character, Hank's uh, partner in the DEA gets killed, which is sad, and then Hank gets killed. He tries to, he tells Walter, who's trying to save him, is like, he's trying to give his $80 million to the Aryan Brotherhood, saying, "Hey, please don't kill Hank. Hank, you gotta do this, Hank, or Hank, just gotta promise you don't tell them, or whatever." And he's like, "Walter, you're the smartest man I've ever met, but you're too stupid to see. He made up his mind 10 minutes ago." And then he goes, and before he can finish the last letter of his word, he gets shot. So it's like very like, just get over. He's just shot instantly, without remorse. And so with him dead, that he's buried where the money was buried, as the Aryan brother takes the money and they give like, I think, I want to say $2 million. Someone correct me on the exact amount. He gives one of the barrels of the millions of dollars to Walter to keep, and then they drive off. And with Jesse Pinkman, who's hiding on the truck, and he tells Jesse with the girl later on, and back in the series, he said, I watched her die, because it was because of Jesse that it was. I want to say it's a little bit because of Jesse that Hank died, and that enraged Walter, because he had to watch him die. And so from there, um, you know, Walter goes into hiding. He's all over the news. He's Heisenberg, Heisenberg, the guy who created the blue meth, 99.1% pure. And so I'm going to cancel here, and we're going to continue on part 2.